It's so easy every day, living in Lubbock, the one and only LBK.
'Cause we got rock and roll, we got the blues, we can honky-tonk and knock cowboy boots.
And through the dust in the rearview mirror, you can see our rhythm and roots. And through the dust in the rearview mirror, you can see our rhythm and roots. Welcome to another episode of Rhythm and Roots podcast. I'm your host, Jason Robertson. This is my co-host, Rhonda Taylor.
Hello.
We are Lubbock's podcast for musicians by musicians, where we focus on local, regional, and statewide talent. We've got some people coming in from across the state to interview with us. And we also, just as important, we focus on the local venues that support these musicians and the live music. And
That's
what
right.
a beautiful place we're in today.
We are in a beautiful place today. I've never been in here, but it's Claraboya. It's in the Doubletree Hotel on Avenue Q. It's a gorgeous hotel, y'all, and it's got world-class food and world-class music here at least once a week, which brings us right to our very first guest here today, which is Robert Lopez. How are you doing, Robert?
Doing well, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, so great to have you here. So, yeah, we were talking about this is one of the venues that's around town that's supporting music. You're already playing here once a week, I believe.
That's correct. I've been here, going on over a year now that they've blessed me to get to play here once weekly, and also, just to get to try some of the food here from Chef Antonio Pena is it's a great addition to our city. It's a great place for musicians to come and grow, and man, it's been awesome for me as a musician. So.
That's great.
Don't you love that, how the local venues embrace the musicians, man? I mean, especially when you get a place like this for you that's kind of your home base. And we've talked about this before, you know, where a place where, and Rhonda and I have a couple of those spots where we play weekly, and it kind of becomes home, and you can
like
try new things, and the people really embrace the music, and they love to listen, you know, and it's really neat to have that as a musician.
It just makes our job a lot easier. It makes it a lot more fun to get to come to these places, definitely, and know that these people care about the fact that there is music, and the fact that, hey, this guy's putting, you know, a little bit of his life out there for us to experience with him. And so it's an awesome feeling to have whenever the other people reciprocate, you know, how you feel and let you know that you're doing a good job. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, Robert, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, how did you get your start in music?
Well, truthfully, if it wasn't for the church, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I was raised at the Catholic Church here in town. Our Lady of Guadalupe is where I still work now, and I have been there for about nearing a decade now. So, it's been a great start for me, and it's been, at this point, a career for me now also. And that's where a lot of my influence begins, is in the church, and truthfully around town here, just with other musicians, other Lubbock musicians that, man, I've just kind of walked, you know, a long line of just amazing guitar players, and got to hear them here in town, and just to sponge off of all that, you know, amazing musicianship it's a great blessing to be here in town. So definitely.
Well, and I know if you haven't seen Robert's show, you need to catch it, because, man, this guy as a solo artist is truly amazing. Rhonda and I, if we are off and Robert's playing, we actually go watch you.
Ever since I've known Robert, he's been one of my favorites.
Well, and you're a master with the guitar, man, and your songwriting. You got some great songs.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Are you you want to open the show out with one of your originals?
Yeah, sure. Here's this one's called Your Love. It's got I guess some obvious maybe for a girl type, you know, themes, but here we go.
Can't tell the way I'm feeling now. Can't even say it when
me jealous every time you
I know
that song, man.
that note.
Oh man,
You're so amazing, man.
Appreciate that,
Great
brother.
song,
Yeah.
by the way.
That is
Thank
a great
you.
So
song.
let's talk about your songwriting a little bit. So do you, Rhonda and I write together, and so we co-write together some. We've both written some songs on our own, but how do you? I always like asking other songwriters this and kind of getting in the mud about it. So I mean, what do you get your inspiration and then you write, or how do you write with other people?
Well, I've not done a lot of writing with other people, I'll be honest, and that's something I'm really looking forward to trying in the future. Most of my inspiration, I would say, comes almost like a lot of musicians talk about, where it kind of just almost falls in your lap. One of those days you just kind of hear something in your mind's eye, kind of just decides to, focus in and hone in on that maybe. And I guess sometimes it's, divinely inspired, something just kind of, you hear a certain melody that, maybe something that you might have even heard in another song, but you don't necessarily recognize it as that. And, you make it your own a little bit. And so a lot of my inspiration just comes, I don't feel like I'm always trying necessarily to write something. I feel like if I sit down and actually work on something, it seems to get a little contrived and or looks as though I'm trying a little too hard. And so so I feel like the inspiration that just comes on its own, a little bit almost, like I said, divinely inspired, or as though it just kind of fell in your lap, is one of the ways I've chosen to write. And then another way is kind of just focusing on a theme that is something that means something to you. Is kind of
Absolutely.
I have some faith-based songs kind of that are focused on a certain theme in life, and maybe something that all people experience and kind of go through as we live our lives. And so those are kind of things that I focus on maybe when I'm writing, but not necessarily in a very overt way. It's just more something that is just kind of under the surface to kind of keep me focused, but not so much driven to just be. I don't always, like I said, sit down just to write. It's not necessarily something that's
It kind of happens organically.
a little bit more organically than
I think that's the kind of the best way, really. When you're not really trying, and it's a more of a.
I feel like my best songs have come that way, where I just kind of have it all kind of plop out in my lap, and then I have the idea pretty much set in stone from the beginning, and those don't come very often also, which is something that's hard to kind of choose which one of those songs are the best to represent you and how to put your art out there in that same way. So.
Well, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but playing covers is one thing, but for Rhonda and I, playing those originals is a very vulnerable thing for an artist.
But it's easier in some ways too.
It is.
Yeah.
It feels easier to sometimes perform those songs, and then it feels like the most pressure when you have other musicians.
That's exactly
It's
right.
them, not us.
They're the easiest to play because it's almost like it comes from the inside. It's just that song's there all the time. But when you're playing it, like you say, in front of other musicians, there's always this little bit of fear, Well, you got another original you want to play for us?
Yeah, I think tune it up a little bit. This one's called Going Home, which I think everybody's kind of had that same feeling of wanting to leave a place, or feeling as though a place is worn out its welcome and you're ready to just get back to where you feel comfortable. And that's where the inspiration for this song, I guess, began.
Have you always lived here in Lubbock, or have you kind of traveled around playing?
I've traveled a little bit with some groups, never on my own a whole lot, never a big tour or anything like that, but I do play mostly here in town now. For about the last 10 years, I've done mostly solo acoustic, and before that, it was an acoustic duo. And so this thing's been, helping me keep my music alive. And,
That's right, man.
So that's the most important part for me. So this one's called Going Home.
Walking out your door, you don't see me leaving, never did before. Yeah, I'm going home. together. Love we must take. It must be in vain. Now I need you. Oh, I don't say what I need to let you go. Going home, going home, going home, going home, going home, going home.
Yeah, man.
He's just rubbing it in now.
I know. He just keeps rubbing it in.
That was so
man.
good,
That was
Robert.
beautiful. So let's talk influences for a minute. So I'm sure this is going to be a pretty broad swope for you, because I'm sure you've got guitar influences, and then you've got probably church influences, and then probably some vocal influences. Because I mean, you're so well rounded as a musician. So talk a little bit about maybe early influences musically on you.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, the church has been one of my biggest influences. Was raised with some great, awesome musicians who really, really took their jobs as though they were professionals, whether or not they were, in a professional setting or not. Some folks like my godfather, Wes Garza, who's a well-renowned musician around the area. One of my greatest influences. As far as music is concerned, he was kind of the performer in both there at the church and out here, in the music scene also for the world. He was a consummate performer in both, and he was one of my biggest influences, truthfully. And I have some other great musicians there at my home church, just some people that aren't very well known on the music scene, but just very dear to my heart, and have ushered in, an amazing generation of musicians after them, because they were just so instrumental in teaching and guiding and just kind of inspiring at the same time. It's so many folks, I can't really name them all, but man, I have a great history and almost a legacy to kind of continue with the people that I've learned from. So
That's really cool.
That
man.
sounds wonderful.
So, and also, the typical musician influences, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, this area, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all the places that you can go as a musician with a thing like the guitar. There's so many guitar heroes also that have inspired me to keep just performing my best and to keep practicing and try to hone in as much talent and as much musicianship as I can. So,
Do you play other instruments as well?
Well, not as fluent as I am on guitar, but I do play the trumpet as something I started my musical career on as a young kid. I started in band, as some of us do, and so in 5th grade that was my first instrument, and I guess that's where I learned to really hone in the music theory side of things and kind of get, I guess, the knowledge of where things should go musically became a little more apparent to me in those days when I was in band. So those things, and I play the keyboard a little bit. I wouldn't call myself any kind of well, I guess call myself a slouch on these instruments. I perform pretty often also. So
Oh, wow.
I know so many great musicians here in town that it's kind of hard to get too big of an ego, or you try
There's
to stay
some great
humble.
talent.
Oh,
This
man,
town.
this town
Yeah.
is packed of great musicians.
Where else do you play on a regular basis?
Well, recently there's some great spots. Amici's Wine Bar is somewhere that's kind of taken me under their wing and had some time there with them. Several other spots around town that are great are the Narrow Bar here down on Broadway.
Yeah.
Savage Tavern is a place that I play frequently. And there's several just awesome spots here in town. It kind of escapes me to name them all, but there's.
Yeah.
Now you've played. Did you used to play with your brother? Is that right?
Oh, that's correct. He's also an awesome musician. he's a keyboard player, guitar player, singer, and he and I have done some duo work together. Not very often. He's also works a day job, and I kind of keep a day job at the church. So we try to work together when we can, and it's obviously a great time to get to.
I'd like to catch that sometime. Yeah.
Performing music with family is it's a great feeling. It's an awesome experience, definitely.
What do y'all go by when y'all are playing together?
We usually call ourselves the Lopez Brothers.
Awesome, so cool. I was hoping that you might say that. Yeah.
Now tell us a little bit about Raised by Wolves, because you were that was a long-standing thing here for a while.
It was. We did about 7 years, I guess. It was nonstop gigging. It was about 4 to 5 times in a week, and sometimes in a weekend we'd play that much. And it was a great learning experience for me. It was Zach Shepard was a great musician that I was able to glean a lot of things off of, and he continued to push me as a musician, and to keep me ambitious to become better and to keep playing new music every week. It was a real challenge, and it was a real great learning experience too. So
nice.
I remember that was a great show y'all did. Yeah.
You ready to play us another one?
Let's do some more.
I got another one for you. This one's called "She Don't Need Nobody."
She don't need nobody, now she's on her own. Time don't seem to matter, now that love's gone. And the tears mean nothing, they just fall for fools. Sometimes the love you're giving is a love you lose. Packed her bags for reasons she won't know until she's gone. Love you could not kill her, is why she needs to be alone. She don't need a man now, they just fade away. I will never find her if her heart won't change. She's got some time to start a life brand new. Walk on down the road, about a mile or two. Packed her bags for reasons she won't know until she's gone. Love it could not kill her, that's why she needs to be alone. She don't need nobody, she's on her own. Time don't seem to matter, that love's gone. The tears mean nothing, they just fall for fools. Sometimes the love you're giving is a love you lose. Packed her bags for reasons she won't know until she's gone. Love it could not kill her, that's why she needs to be alone. Lord, she's gone.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks. Appreciate that.
Thanks,
I love when
Robert.
you sing the blues. Every time we go to watch him, I request the blues every time, man. And that one's got a bluesy feel to it.
Yeah.
So you've eaten here at Clairvoyant. Tell us what's your favorite thing you've had? Because this guy just brought out a chocolate cake, and I got so distracted.
What's happening?
Well, I'd have to say one of my favorites is the calamari steak. I would definitely recommend that. And man, I've had the filet here for my birthday, and it was the filet is amazing. I think they're actually maybe doing a bison steak or ribeye of some sort now. So they do all kinds of one-off things that they try new here, for the menu. And like I said, Chef Antonio, he never lets you down, man. It's always going to be a great experience.
Yeah, we've enjoyed being here today. This is lovely.
Yeah. So tell us what's on your playlist right now. When you're driving around town, back and forth to gigs, or you're home, tell us what you're jamming to.
Okay. Well, lately, man, I listen to a lot of jazz, truthfully. A lot of Blue Note titles that I don't have a lot of, lyrics. It's something that I've kind of been focusing a lot of my attention to, is listening to music without lyrics lately. And just to kind of get inspired in a different way. And truthfully, it kind of gives me a lot more love for the music that I do, care for a lot. And when I do, go back and listen to all the stuff with lyrics, it does, it invigorates, me to play all music, not just the stuff with lyrics, And so that's, for me, where I get a lot of inspiration lately is just music that doesn't necessarily have the lyrics, because then I have to, that's where I struggle, I think, sometimes, is to focus on the writing side with the words. Yeah. So I think to take away the music for me is kind of giving me a little bit more inspiration to focus on just the words.
Man. I can agree with that.
Focus on what I can say besides, what's already been said 1,000 times in most music.
So tell us, what advice, somebody watching or listening to the show, to a young musician who's trying to get in the game, trying to get their music out, trying to get, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would just say, try to find your own voice. It's hard to not only take your influences as a part of yourself and then try to create something new. It's kind of difficult to not just regurgitate something you've heard over and over, imitate somebody to the point of maybe being there, at that point being a parody of them, or
absolutely
almost as though you're a tribute, artist to them. And so to just focus on hearing what you sound like the most, not necessarily what you want to sound like and how you might want to sound like others, focus on what your inner voice might sound like, and
that's a great
try
advice.
To express that as best you can. So
that's some of the best advice I've ever heard. That's really good.
Me too. So tell everybody watching and everybody listening where we can find, number one, your music, if you've got it on any platforms, and then number two, where we can find a weekly list of where you're playing, because I know you post it. I see it all the time.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, you can follow me on social media platforms. Robert Lopez is just my Facebook, at Robert Lee Lopez Jr. on Instagram. And I don't have many things released as far as music goes. I do have some things on YouTube. There's some, cover videos just on my channel. And I do have some things on the church's Facebook also, some live streams of our, time during the pandemic and things like that. But other than original music, I'm actually working now to get a lot of it recorded and released as soon as possible. So please be looking out for that in the future.
Absolutely.
Will do.
And Facebook, is that the best place to watch for your gigs weekly?
Facebook and Instagram are where I post stories and weekly, spiel of where I'll be, and kind of come catch me at all these nice spots and come show them some love if you can.
Yeah, do that. You will not be regretting that decision.
You got one more you can take us out with?
Yeah, it's more of, like I said, it's one of my faith-based songs. It's called Mountains. Here you go.
Lord, you show me mountains, valleys deeper still. It's made me stronger, helps me feel your will. Each day I walk the footsteps, the ones he cannot take. Try my best to walk straight on paths that lead to faith. Sometimes the path feels hopeless, still it stays the course. Just submit them, our lives hit all but falls. Each time we try and fall, accept his call. If he does decide, our hearts we cannot hide. So now, oh Lord, I see you. Place you set aside. Can't believe I'm worthy. You're giving me new life.
Robert, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Well, thank y'all, folks. Appreciate it.
As usual, what a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Always
pleasure being
a
here.
pleasure. If you are a music lover and you want to see a great show, absolutely go check Robert Lopez out. You will be very, very pleased that you went to see his show. And if you're a venue looking to book Robert, find him on his social media platforms.
Yeah, make him even more busy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
that,
can't make
guys.
him too busy. We're trying to
Yeah, we're trying to use them
for some other
too. Put him with
projects.
us as well.
Thanks for tuning in today. This has been Rhythm and Roots Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Jason Robertson, Rhonda Taylor. Today we had Robert Lopez. We're going to give another shout out to Clairboy Scratch Kitchen here inside the DoubleTree Hotel. Be watching for these episodes on the City of Lubbock's TV channel, My LBK Connect, and on other social media platforms. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Good day.